We getting old, goddammit. Let's get it. We made niggas put them rose bottles up. We made the whole city boss they like fuck. Boss they like fuck. We made niggas wanna go and hit hush. Bitch, we made niggas, you know we love to stunt. We made niggas put them rose bottles up. We made the whole city boss they like fuck. Boss they like fuck. We made niggas wanna go and hit hush. Bitch, we made niggas, you know we love to stunt. We made niggas wanna go and hit hush. Nas, Nari, and Shine. Rhyme with Don Michael and we sitting on shine. Yeah, bitch, this a white tee, this East Laurent. Yeah, how you like that? Told my plug, give me 50, came right back. Now the whole hood jumping like some jumping jacks. Yeah, I love rats, plus I got cheese. Got white bitches, Puerto Rican, Japanese. Rolling green peas, we call it Cali best. Play stupid, get hot ones to your flesh. In the coupe, about to put the dash to the test.
All right, what's up, everybody? Back with you for another episode and our final recruiting episode of the season. So we'll take a look at our board for one final time before we advance into the postseason. We finished 7-5. Obviously not an ideal year, and another loss, 51-37 to Notre Dame, a game where we turned it over, I think, 4 times, 5 times, way too many times. Certainly a winnable game, but not when you give the ball away that many times. So go check that game out if you missed it. I'll tag it right here. It was still a really good game, really competitive, but same old story as pretty much every game this season. We get down by a lot because we throw picks and don't score, and we got to work our way back out of a big hole, and we can't do it. So check that one out. We got our last recruiting episode here, as I said, and then we'll be done with those until the offseason. And we'll also find out what bowl game we'll be in this year. It's not the college football playoff or the national championship, so I don't really care, but we still won 7 games, still got a postseason game to play, so we'll take care of that. And I also kind of want to look at next year's roster a little bit to give you guys a look at what you might expect our team to look like and maybe how we'll play next season. So we'll do all that in today's episode. Be sure to like and subscribe. We're almost at 1,000 subs, only a couple away. Might already have it by the time I post this, but if we're not there, be one of the people that's not subbed, and go ahead and do that if you like the content. I'd really appreciate it. I'll have a special video for you guys once we hit 1,000 subs. So do that, and I'll do that for you guys. So let's go ahead and get into today's episode. All right, here's a look at our board. So we got 6 guys that I'm really recruiting hard. And they're all, we're in the running for all of them. And there's these 3 down here, as I've said in previous episodes, that are on the board, but we're not really recruiting. And if we offered them a scholarship, they'd commit pretty much on the spot. So let's look at how we're doing on these guys before we go ahead and advance to next week when we can't do anything with recruiting. So we're in second for Henderson. Some guys went on visits recently. I'm not sure if that was this week for Henderson. We'll find out next week, I guess. Bonner is liking Temple more than us, as Henderson's liking Georgia more. Martin likes West Virginia, so we're in second on all of those. We're in first for Adams here. He's a 4-star receiver, pretty highly rated, but we already have 2 receivers signed, and only 2 of them, I think, are going to go pro next year, and Nelson, who's a senior, and then Brown, who's a junior, and maybe Andy Robinson. He's also a junior. I doubt he'll go, but so we got a lot of receivers already on the team, so we don't necessarily need Adams here, but he's a pretty good player. I'm not sure he's a year 1 impact type guy. He's 6'1", 189, kind of slow, 84, 89. Good jumping, though, so he's certainly a boundary receiver. Great catching, great route running, all that good stuff, release. So definitely a unique piece to have on the team. I'm just not necessarily sure that we need to, spend a resource on him, because we have, as you can see here, 1 scholarship left, 15 seniors leaving, 16 leaving, 15 guys already committed. Maybe there's a couple more with Brown if he goes pro, and Earl Edwards maybe our quarterback, but I'm only planning on 16, 17 guys headed out the door, and I'm not sure I want to use one of those coveted spots on Adams, because I don't know if he can be an impact guy right away, even in the first 2 years, and those are the kind of guys I want to recruit. And then not to mention, we already have John Gates down here, who is a boundary receiver, 5-star, number 2 receiver prospect. He's 6'2", 196. So I feel like we're kind of just beating a dead horse here with the guys we're bringing in. We also got Patrick Watkins, but he's going to be my slot receiver because he's a little bit smaller, 5'10" in stature, 5-star number 1 receiver. So you kind of get the picture. I'm not sure that we really need to bring in a receiver there that's just going to play boundary as well. I mean, it'd be nice to have 2 really good boundary receivers, and then, if we brought all 3 of them in, that'd be nuts. But you kind of got to spread your numbers out a little bit. You can't go all in on one position group like that. But if we had Gates, Watkins, and then Adams, all 3 at receiver, 3 freshmen like that, that would be pretty sick. I will say that. All right, then there's Eric Mayfield, who likes Georgia State. He's a high 4-star. This is the kind of guy that we need, I think. Our defensive line is trash. We get no sacks ever or TFLs. And he's 6'5", 232. He's got good speed, good athleticism, so maybe he could come in and make a difference early. I want to look at our D tackle positions if we can real quick. So, they're C+ and C, so not very talented. And they are young, too, so that's nice. We will get some guys that have some years under their belt. We've already got 1 of each committed. And from what I understand, let's go take a look at it. They're pretty highly rated. These guys committed a long time ago. Yeah, Josh Walker, he's 81 overall. And then where's our D tackle? Barnes, he's not very highly rated, actually. He's only 66. He's pretty solid, but not, like a guy that's going to inspire confidence in you to come in and make a difference year 1. So can never have enough good athletic D linemen. Same with the offensive line. So Johnson's got us in first, actually. So he's the only guy that has us in first place. We already have a couple guys committed at offensive line. Looks like 2 tackles. But just because you're a tackle recruit doesn't mean you can't play offensive guard. So we can slide them around, move them around on the offensive line. I don't mind stacking that talent there. So if I'm picking who I want out of this group, I'd probably go Johnson and Mayfield. I'd love to have these 2 guys here, Bonner and Martin, but I'm not necessarily sure that we're going to pull them away. It's not necessarily looking realistic that we can get them. Now, I didn't even measure, so we got 2 receivers already committed and 2 more that we could get here in Henderson and Adams. And that would be a scary trio if we get either of them to complement the guys we already have committed at wide receiver. That would just be an unreal triumvirate there on the outside. So we'll see what happens. We're looking good for Johnson. We're hanging around for these other guys here, but need some moves to be made and some visits to go bad, I suppose. And these guys are just hanging. So we'll advance the week, and we'll see how we stand after the week with those guys, with those numbers, and we'll go from there. Just an update on the class rankings. So we dropped from 1 to 2. Michigan's got 2 more guys committed, 13 4-stars, a couple 3-stars, excuse me. We got 3 5-stars and 8 4-stars. We're looking really stinking good, and they're all offensive skill position players. Cooper, Gates, Watkins, and then a lot of 4-stars too. So this is a really good class. If we don't win a national championship with these guys, we're terrible, basically. All right, update on the job security. It wasn't really in doubt, but, we're not achieving at the level we need to be. Our target wins is 9. The most we can get this year is 8. So definitely a disappointing year, but if you look back at our schedule, we lost a lot of really close games this year, and we could easily be 11-1, 10-2 right now versus 7-5 if we execute a little bit better in those games. All right, before we advance the week, here's where we are projected to go. It's the Gator Bowl against Nebraska. Got to see what teams won and lost this week, so we'll go ahead and advance the week, and we'll do the big reveal on which bowl game we're playing in. Again, disappointed, but at least we got some postseason to play. Darn it. All right, so the dream of getting one of those really talented receivers is gone, and Adams there. But again, as I just explained, he was kind of a luxury pick that we didn't really have room for. So he's committed to Miami. Good luck to him. Nobody else commits, so we still got 5 guys on the board that we can still bring in, and we'll see how we sit in those recruitments. One final look at the conference standings. So A&M wins the West, 11-1, 9-1. They'll play in the title. Ole Miss finishes 8-3. Oh, they got one more game, but they're going to finish ahead of us because they looks like they have a non-conference game there to close it out. It's usually Mississippi State, but whatever. We finished right here, 7-5, 6-4. Not bad. The SEC's tough. We played 10 SEC games this year. If we play 9, we probably finish 8-4. But we challenged ourselves the hardest schedule, and this is what we get for it. Auburn, 7-5, 5-5. So, top 3, a lot to build on. I came in with the expectation that we'd win the West and probably the SEC year 1 because we got a lot of bravado, a lot of confidence, but clearly it did not end up that way. So it's A&M and Tennessee, it looks like, for the SEC title. And Tennessee, it seemed that we were right there with. A&M, we were also in that game pretty close too. So, we're not far off. We really got to clean some things up next year and just focus on the little things. And I think we'll make it to the title. All right, we did have an SEC Player of the Week. It's Sean Brown, who had 7 catches, 204 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Really quietly had a hell of a game there as we were trying to come back and get back into this one. So a lot of deep touchdown catches. He had 2 in the fourth quarter there to make the score a little bit more respectable. He's been really stinking good all year. Look at his season numbers here. Just continuing on what he's done the previous 2 years. He didn't get a lot, as much production as the previous 2, but it's because Andy Robinson stepped up big. And Thomas Nelson had a freaking hell of a season. So he's accomplished all he's needed to in college. He boosted his receiving touchdowns this season. So what more is there for him to do? He had a great freshman season, even better sophomore season, and a really solid junior season as well. So why come back for a senior year and hurt your draft stock when you can just go pro? So shout out to him. All right, this is your final look at the board until we do signing day. So Henderson still in second, still, kind of making little moves up the board there, and same with Bonner, and no big changes besides getting locked out by Johnson. But we're gonna open the door right now, actually, since we can. Let's go ahead and do that. Bang. All right, so right back in that race. Now just down 500. Rutgers sneaks back in a little bit. So, we're going to have 15,000 points to use, or whatever the number is, on signing day. And we'll pick between one of these 5 or 2 of these 5 or maybe even 3 of these 5 guys. And that will complete our class. Hopefully we can get a couple of them, even just one of them. Would be great. All right, there it is. It's not Nebraska. It's not Illinois. We actually got Penn State in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. So that'll be a fun one in Jacksonville, Florida. We've played Penn State previously in the Oregon State Dynasty. Check it out if you haven't already. Ton of content on that playlist. Played these guys in the college football playoff and in the regular season, all that good stuff. So this should be a good matchup. They look like a pretty tough team. And hopefully we can finish the season with 8 wins, because that would, give us a little bit of momentum heading into next season. Couple updates on awards. So Roman McCutcheon wins the Jet Award as the Returner of the Year, which we get every season. So no surprise there. All right, real quick, just want to run you guys through what our team's going to kind of look like next year, just super quickly. We'll go more in-depth in the future. So Edwards is a junior. He could go pro. He could come back. I think he should come back because his interception numbers are awful. 22 last year, 26 this year. Oh, it's like Jameis Winston, swear to God. But if he does leave, we got Mike Butler here, who's a dual-threat quarterback, 6'3", 205, so a little bit bigger build. He's ready to go. He's played a little bit. We've seen a little bit of him, but we'll see more, obviously, if he starts. At running back, we're losing 4 guys to graduation, probably not the NFL, maybe Grant. So TJ Keith, who barely ever played, and Jacob Allen, who also barely ever played. How many, carries these guys get? Yeah, 22 for their career. Not a whole lot. They just couldn't see the field. I mean, this guy has actually never played. Maybe we'll try to get him into the bowl game. It was primarily Grant and Simmons are the best 2 that we had. Simmons kind of the backup. He doesn't get as much as he should. Maybe we'll change that this bowl game. And then Grant having a really down year. I mean, he put up big numbers, actually identical numbers the past 2 years, but this year just couldn't get it going, whether it be because of the sliders or whatever. So we got 4 guys leaving. Coming back, Josh Tucker, who I'm excited about. He's a pretty fast guy. And then we got Matt Little, who we recently recruited, who's got pure raw speed that excites me. And then 2 scat back type guys down here in Hawkins and Johnson, who are also ready to go. So we got Tucker as the veteran, then 3 freshmen and redshirt freshmen that will follow up and bring a playmaking aspect to that running back position that we desperately need. At receiver, we're losing Nelson, probably losing Brown as well. I mean, this guy had a really freaking good career, just going off this season. Best season at Georgia Tech so far for him. Sean Brown we talked about already. Andy Robinson could go pro. I don't think he will. He's had a really good season, just improving on what he did last year. But if he comes back, he's the featured receiver, probably in the slot, I would guess. Could also play him on the outside. And then we got Jesse Livingston, who will take on a bigger role. He's done a little bit so far, but he could certainly do more. Andrew Harrell as well, who we just brought in, the 5-star in this past recruiting class. And then Alex Williams, who's yet to play will see a little bit more time as well. So we'll lean on these 4 guys primarily, I'd imagine. And then Ken Bryant, Rob Woods, they'll see some time soon. Tight ends, we got a freshman and a sophomore. They're both back and both good. As far as the line goes, Michael Ryan is an anchor left tackle for the next at least 2 years after this. Same with Mike Dean. So the offensive line's looking great. We lose this 93 overall center, but we got Nick Bates back. He's a junior, 90 overall, ready to go. We're young and we're talented. We'll have to replace Bentley here at right tackle, but we're bringing in good recruits. We've got Tom Coach. We'll go with that for his name, ready to go there. D-line can only get better. We were trash this year, but pretty young and inexperienced. So we lose Fuller, but we got McCoy, who was a 5-star or high 4-star freshman last year. D-tackles all young, all sophomores and freshmen, so they'll just get better. And in a couple years, we'll be really good there, just taking our lumps for now. Linebacker, we'll see. We're losing Stevenson, who was really good. We're losing Rhodes, who was also good, and Derek Dean here. So, yeah, we're going to have some problems at linebacker next year. Maybe we'll get some transfers. Otherwise, I don't know. We had a couple good years of linebackers there. Corners, they're younger, not seniors. They're all coming back, so we should have a 90 overall and maybe a high 80 overall corner. Free safety, we lose Thomas, but we got Porter. He was the 5-star number 1 overall free safety recruit last year, so we're good there. And then strong safety, not looking great, but Jackson will do what he can next year for Schwend, and specialists are all back. So we're looking like a pretty good team. Some decisions to be made that will affect how we'll look next year, but we got a lot of talent in a lot of places and should only get better from this year. And then lastly, I think we had a couple records set last game. Edwards set the new record for passing touchdowns in a season with 33. So he's had a great year from a touchdown throwing standpoint. Interception, not so much. So good for him, but if he comes back next year, we got a lot of work to do, and I've got some ideas on how to improve those interception numbers, but one thing's for sure, those need to change. All right, that'll do it for the episode. Thank you for watching. Hope you got a good glimpse at what to expect for next year from us. Certainly better than 7-5, but we're gonna try and make good in this bowl game here and get up to 8 wins and build for next year. Tough one here against Penn State. I'm sure they're gonna bring the heat, and we'll have to bring it ourselves. Again, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll have this game coming up soon, and then we'll get all into the offseason, the preseason, and build towards next year, which we gotta at least compete for a national championship next year, because the past couple of years we've just fallen short. Even when we were in the ACC, we win the ACC, we don't make it to the national title, even the college football playoff. We haven't made it to the playoff in a couple of years since Oregon State. So we got to change that next year. We got to get that title. We got to prove that we belong in the SEC too. We kind of got tossed around like a rag doll here this first year. So we got to get better at a lot of different places. But if we put some things together, I think we got a really good team. We had a good team this year. We just didn't execute in the big moments of these big games, and that's why we're 7-5 and not 10-2, not 11-1, not even 12-0. So again, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. See you on the next one. Peace.